Hey there, I am back with another deck review, and today we're going to be looking at the Successor from the Gentleman Wake. In the year 800, Charlemagne, then the king of the Franks and a skilled military leader, traveled to Rome to address some of the issues that had arisen between Pope Leo III and the Roman nobility. On Christmas Day that year, as Charlemagne knelt in prayer during a mass at St. Peter's Basilica, Pope Leo unexpectedly approached the king, placing a golden crown on his head. And in so doing, the Pope proclaimed him the new Holy Roman Emperor and signaled a profound moment in the connection between political power and religious legitimacy. Now, while not every coronation in history carries the sort of significance of Charlemagne's, the transfer of power between rulers is a landmark moment in any culture. And that legacy and majesty is celebrated in the latest deck from the Gentleman Wake, Successor. Like all the previous Gentleman Wake decks, this one features an artistic partnership with one of the biggest name designers in the industry. And for this one, he collaborated with one of my favorites, Cantrell, whose artistic style I think is a perfect match for the sort of ornate luxury that's become a hallmark of the Gentleman Wake brand. So let's see how things worked out with the Successor. Now, all of the Gentleman Wake decks come in a myriad of different colorways, and this one no exception. So we get 5 different ones to take a look at for this review. We have the 2 standard versions with Regal Red and Royal Blue, and then we also have Imperial Black, as well as Monarch White in this really distinctive tuck box. And of course, Dynastin, one of the hallmarks. There's a Dynastin deck for every one of the Gentleman Wake decks, or the designs that have come over the years. So we'll get a chance to look at all 5 of these, but I'll save these kind of more luxury versions here for the second part of the video. Let's start off looking at the standard versions of the deck with Royal Blue and Regal Red. We'll have a chance to look at both of these, but let's start off by taking a look at the tuck box for Regal Red. All right, so the tuck box, of course, done on that red cardstock, and then these are made by Studio Pression, who does tremendous foil and embossing work, and you can really see what they're capable of with this one. Multiple colors of foil. You get the blue, the purple, the red, and the gold. Multiple colors layered onto this one to produce a stunning tuck box. This is on the actual back of the tuck box. You can see the thumb cut out here. But this is sort of the nameplate of the deck with the Successor written calligraphy at the bottom. And then this really cool scene of a coronation, a full color scene, just beautifully illustrated on this one. You can see the religious leader there lowering the crown onto the forehead of the kneeling king. Just a beautiful looking scene, bold, bright, vibrant. Just a really cool touch to this one. Love this part of the tuck box. This is really just phenomenal stuff. As you turn to the sides, you got the standing statues here, kind of solemnly standing guard, maybe some of the rulers of the past. The bottom has your ad copy, but even that is super ornate and foiled. You get the windows of the castle there, and at the bottom, the Gentleman Wake and Cantrell studio. And then there's a little Gentleman Wake kind of logo there in the center. So you look at the top, those banners lowered down with the word the Successor across there. Really nicely done. And again, multiple colors of foil applied. And then here on the back of the tuck box, or I guess it'd be the front, you get a foiled and embossed version of the back design of the cards. And again, just stunningly done with the multiple colors of foil. Really nice with that red and the gold paired on there. But we'll look more at the details of the back design as we get to the cards themselves. As you open up the inner flap, another scene of the architecture of the church there in the background, or the castle. And then the Gentleman Wake presents at the bottom. And then the inner flaps here, you get the CAP monogram here. This is for Cantrell a priori, which is Kevin Cantrell's kind of playing card brand. And then on the other side here, there's the Gentleman Wake logo, the intertwined TGW. And you get some really, really nice interior foiling as well. So as you look on the inside here, gold foil that repeated, almost kind of like a coat of arms or the banners. Beautifully done to give you that pattern that extends all the way to the inside of the tuck box. Just a stunning tuck box. And if you look at the blue version of it, this is the Royal Blue. Done very similar artwork, same foils, but this time against that kind of aqua blue tuck box. Just a really nice look to this one as well. I think overall I like the red one better. I've always been partial to red decks, but nice little pairing of the red and the blue together. So same details as you go all the way through on this one, that same gold foil on the interior as well. So that takes a look at the 2 tuck boxes of the standard versions of the deck. But now let's take a look at the back designs. All right, so here they are in the red and the blue, and it's a beautiful looking design. Kevin Cantrell always does super ornate back designs, and these so much detail to look at. Obviously in the center, you get that hourglass shaped design, that kind of S-shaped hourglass, kind of a signal or a symbol of the limited time that every ruler has in the chair. And then beautiful filigree and architectural details just surround this. It's a mixture of those kind of solid colors. You get the reds and the maroons over here, and then the 2 shades of blue on the blue version of the deck, and then mixed with metallic gold inks to give you a nice little extra shine and bit of luxury to the deck. Beautiful overall. Love things like the scene here in the background of the church with the seated members of the royalty there in the back. And then on the banners, you'll see something that's a bit of a tagline of the deck. It says, "Turning the tide will not be confined." So really cool look to it overall. You get the Roman numerals here, MCDLV on the side. Just a really nice look to these. Love both versions of this one. I will say, honestly, though, as we get into the other versions of the deck, the luxury ones that add some foil on this one, I think really help bring the design to life even more. This back design on the standard, not my favorite of the bunch, but still some nice detailing on this nonetheless. All right, now let's turn to the cards. We really only need to look at one because the faces of the cards are the same between the 2 standard versions of the deck. But let's do that on the Regal Red version of the deck. All right, so it starts out with the 2 ad cards. Ad cards are something that Kevin Cantrell always does a phenomenal job on. Doesn't leave these as, kind of standard afterthought cards in the deck. Beginning here with the Gentleman Wake, the producer of the deck, his ad card done with the nice kind of royal banners, the Gentleman Wake in a nice fancy font, the TGW logo there at the bottom. And of course, there's that tagline again, "Turning of the tide will not be confined." Beautiful look. The nice metallic inks on this one. I love the sort of ethereal glow that metallic ink adds to this one. And then the other ad card is for Kevin Cantrell Studios. Of course, you get the Successor playing cards designed and illustrated by Kevin Cantrell. So very, very nice look to it overall. Love this one. And I love the intertwined letters here forming the Kevin Cantrell kind of, I guess I'll call it the seal or the coat of arms down here. So beautiful pair of ad cards. I love that those are even given that kind of extra fancy treatment. But the 2 kind of more classic jokers definitely pay tribute to the theme of the deck, the successor, the anointing of a successor to the throne. And in this one, you can see one of them representing the anointed or the one rising to power. So you see the king there in the center. And then the religious leader who serves as the anointer. Beautiful, super detailed scenes, very much in keeping with the style of the tuck box. Love the artwork on these. Love the architectural details in the background. Just a really striking pair of jokers. And again, those gold metallic inks really kind of lend some nice little bit of luxury to the cards. All right, so there are your ad cards and your jokers. But now let's get into the main deck. All right, so the Ace of Spades, definitely the power ace of the deck. You get the nice gold inks on this one, the nice large spade pip, and then the scene in the center. Very reminiscent of the style that Kevin Cantrell does on a lot of his aces, but the nice kind of monochrome scene there in the center shows the religious leader, the priest or whoever it is, lifting the crown up to the crowds in the back. Beautiful looking gold filigree and kind of floral details there around the borders. Just a beautiful look to it overall. And the bottom, of course, presented by the Gentleman Wake. Pip and index, so done in that kind of calligraphy style with the gold ink. All of the indices on this one are going to be done in gold. So as you go through, whether red cards or black, they'll all have the gold index. And then the fairly standard pip there in the corner as well. Other 3 aces are all done in a similar style, so you can almost call it like all of them are power aces. But the Ace of Diamonds has the image of the kingdom or the castle there in the back. Here's a trio of characters. I guess this is representing the king and the queen, and then the religious leader who anointed them into power, and then the little sword there at the bottom. And then the Ace of Hearts. Here's the 2 previous leaders, and then their child who will, of course, become the successor to the throne. Love the aces in this one. I think they're fantastically illustrated. Now, again, if you've seen Kevin Cantrell's decks, you know that he really puts a lot into the pips in the deck, and these are some of my favorite that he's ever done. I think they're fantastically illustrated. He always puts super ornate details into the middle. These done in that gold metallic ink against the black pip. So you can see kind of the image of the crown here on the spades. I love the addition to these little just extra little elements in the middle. So in this one, he's kind of filling, some of the extra space with those little shields there in the middle. Just gives you some extra point of interest as you go through the pips. But really nicely illustrated. And then in the diamonds, you get one of the bits of the castle there as the design element on the diamonds. And then into the clubs, more detailing there. So black pips with that gold metallic ink on the black cards, and then those kind of deep crimson colored pips with more gold detailing on the red cards. But all of them, of course, have that gold index in the corner. And then we get into the court cards, and the court cards are definitely more standard inspired, but they're hardly standard cards at all. Now, if you've seen Kevin Cantrell's Lord of the Rings deck from Theory 11, you'll definitely recognize some of the style done on these. Super intricate clothing, tons of details, obviously accented with that gold metallic ink, but then the sort of black and white style faces, giving an almost plain look to them relative to the super ornate clothes on these. But beautiful mixture, I think, of kind of custom, but still following suit with the classic court card style. So definitely a mixture of classic and custom together that I think works really well on these. Now, personally, I tend to like more custom cards. And so for me, I would have loved to have seen this go even more custom, but this is hardly something I can complain about. I think they're really just fantastically illustrated. Each one of them featuring a different monarch or subject of the kingdom who is part of that succession story of the king. Just very nice artwork on these, and the clothing, the color palettes on these, the reds and the blues, I think mixed together just really, really nicely. So there are your court cards. There's probably my favorite one. I love the layout of that suicidal king there. Just a nice look to it. So those are your courts. And like I said, if you the standard versions of the decks, both of them are the same. So as you go through the blue version of the deck, no differences to the artwork, the ad cards, everything pretty much the same as we saw on the red version of the deck. So no changes between the two standard versions of the deck, but they are really, really nicely done in my opinion. So that's just two versions of the deck though. We still have more to go. And believe me, the luxury just sort of steps it up even more as we get to the next version of the deck. So for the next one, we're going to be looking at Imperial Black. Now on the face of it, the tuck box, very, very similar look to it, this time against the black tuck box, and adds in some black foils with the blues and the reds. Still a striking look to it. And for me, this one is probably my favorite version of this. I love how well everything pops against that black background. I think this one probably works the best in terms of the contrast and how great that scene looks. But what really makes this one stand out is the cards themselves. There's that look at the black with the gold there as the interior. But for this one, we add in foil. And the foil, I think, just brings this one to the next level. Nominally, it's the same artwork that we saw on the others, but that foil just gives it all new life. Cold foiling, the gold on this one, that beautiful shine. And as you turn into light, all sorts of different details of that design are going to pop out. Just really nice. I love that it's cold foiled all the way to the edge. Gives you that just super regal look to it overall. And the faces of the card foiled as well. Of course, the most striking are going to be these, the Anointed and Anointer cards. And you may have noticed these are actually done with two different colors of cold foil. So not just the gold, but also some silver accents as well. Just really help these pop in an all new way. Ad cards also get the foil treatment. You'll see some golds and silvers popping out as you go through. Otherwise, the same artwork, but like I said, it just hits even more as you get into those gold foils. Everything that we saw that was metallic ink on the previous deck, even things like the index, are now accented with that gold foil and just look outstanding. Details still hold up really, really well. You can see all those super ornate details. Nothing is really lost with the foiling. So Cardamundi always does a great job with their foiling, and I think they did phenomenal on this deck as well. And even the court cards are accented with tons of foil of their own. Multiple colors of foil, so you'll see like the gold of the hair here, and then the silver and the gleaming sword, or that short sword that he's got in his hands. These just look even more ornate as you go through. Just a huge step up. So for these, the cards as you get to these last three versions of the deck, I think really are just absolutely next level. So there is the Imperial Black version of the deck. And then what sort of became one of the, I guess you'd say, hallmark versions of the deck is the Monarch White. And we'll see why this one's special for a reason. So it's an actual 2 or even 3-part tuck case, depending on how you look at it. So first we have this outer sleeve. So you'll see some completely different artwork. This one really hits hard with the Gentleman Wake branding rather than the Successor on it. You know, personally, I wish that had been reversed. I wish Successor had been a little bit more prominent on the outside of the tuck box, but still looks fantastic. That Gentleman Wake red and gold logo really shines brightly on here. Very simple detailing on the sides here. It just says designed by Kevin Cantrell Studios. And on the other side, the Successor with the sword running down the side. But what really helps this one stand out is this back. It's an actual metal plate. You can see a thick, heavy metal plate that's glued onto the back here. And that scene that we saw in the other tuck boxes, now done in beautiful antiqued bronze. Just a fantastic look to it. Everything done in this really high, heavy relief on these. Just a fantastic scene. This looks amazing to me. You know, you compare it here. So here's the what I already thought looked fantastic with your other tuck boxes, but now done in that gold, just really, really nice. And like I said, this is just the sleeve to the deck, so you can slide it out. And there's a closer look at it. So nice, heavy feel to this one overall. Just kind of a crazy idea to put that metal card on the back. And then on the inside, you get a white tuck box that's very much more in keeping with some of the other ones. So you get that same scene here. Those foils against the white, again, I think look really nice. That white just gives everything a really clean look to it overall. So this interior box is pretty much the same artwork that we saw in the previous ones. We're kind of back to normal. This one is numbered on the bottom, so you can see this one's 348 out of 1500 deck run. So not a super low number deck. And the cards themselves given an extra special treatment as well. These are, may have gotten a peek there, gilded cards. So you get that nice gold metallic gilding. And then the white back design on these, again, with those hits of gold foil. So the gold foil, the gold gilding, all done against that white card just gives this one another level of luxury and kind of a special feel to it overall. Artwork on these, this is going to be the same that we saw with the Imperial Black version of the deck. Everything done with the gold foils rather than just the metallic inks. So given a really nice look to it overall. Love, again, those 2 colors of foil that are used on these. But overall, it's the gilding, of course, the white back design, and really more than anything, that extra sleeve that gives the Monarch White version of the deck its extra special little oomph within the series. This right here, just really something unique. All right, and then we have one final version. So we're 5 decks in. We have one final version to look at, and that's Dynastin Rex. Dynastin is a type of beetle, and it's sort of become a tradition within Gentleman Wake series to have a Dynastin deck in every one of theirs. So whether it was with the original Parlour decks or Tale of the Tempest, we had Dynastin there. Well, now we have one for the Successor. Rex, of course, Latin for king, so nice fitting name to it. And all the Dynastin decks are done in tons of hits of green. And for this one, I love that it's completely redesigned. We're not just getting a green version of the other Successor tucks. We get an all-new tuck on this one. Beautiful filigree, kind of the word of the day on this one. The nice little logo down there at the bottom with Lex and Rex, or Law and King. And then on that gold shield with the Dynastin beetle there in the middle. And then the nice, beautiful Dynastin Rex in beautiful calligraphy there on it. So nice look to it. I love that the green here kind of left a little bit more matte with the shiny background. Kind of gives you a nice little contrast, and as you turn to the light, you can see that matte finish really show through. And then as you turn to the sides, you get the sword with Successor written on it, and then Dynastin on the other side. These are also numbered on the bottom, so you get that sticker across the bottom. It's got 694 out of 777. So all the Dynastin decks are limited to 777. And then on the back here, you get a look at the back design of the cards. We do get an all-new back design on this one. This one introducing this Successor logo here in the center. And this is actually an ambigram. So an ambigram just means it can be read the same right side up or upside down. So you can see Successor this way and Successor that way. So really nice look to it. More greens on the inside. So there's the scene of the church and the gold foil interior as well. These also feature gilded cards. Again, a hallmark or a staple of any of the previous Dynastin decks. So you get the beautiful gold gilding. and that reimagined back design as well. The mixture of the greens and the golds really helping bringing this one to life. Love the gold foil to the edges, the green, a nice mixture. I'm not always a huge fan of ambigrams, but this one's a pretty well done one. So I love that, this almost looks like it's going to be a one-way back design, but because of that ambigram in the center, it actually still works as a two-way back design. The faces of the cards are going to be the same as what we saw with Monarch White and with Imperial Black with the foil applied to it. Of course, we're going to have foil on the faces as well. So nothing new to show on the faces of the cards, but really that back design, all new design to it, bringing in those greens and the golds, great classic combination, and then mixed in with that all new tuck. Just a worthy successor, sorry, no pun intended, but a worthy successor to the Dynastin name within Gentleman Wake's decks. All right, and that's it. Those are the 5 versions of the deck that we're going to take a look at. Honestly, for me, I can go a bunch of different ways. I think, Monarch White really just stands out, super unique with that sleeve. But for me, if I was going to go with one single deck, I'd probably go with Imperial Black. That's the one that just stands out the most to me. Love the contrast on this one. And for me, this scene on the front is really just the standout of it. But honestly, you can't go wrong with any of these decks. It's a phenomenal series. Kevin Cantrell is an immensely talented artist and just a great fit for what, I think Omar and the Gentleman Wake brand is going for with all the decks. Kevin Cantrell, I think, is the perfect designer for him. That ornate style just really kind of meshes well with everything that Gentleman Wake has gone for with all of the different decks. So great series. Honestly, do you need every single version of the deck? Do you need to go out after all of them? I don't think you necessarily do, but is it worth picking up 1 or 2? Or if you're really a completionist, going to pick up all of them? I think it's a worthwhile deck and one that you will enjoy having in your collection. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this look at the Successor. I'll put a link down in the description on the Gentleman Wake site. You can still pick these up today. Plenty of these that are available if you haven't gotten them or you didn't get them in the campaign. But hope you enjoyed this chance to take a look at them here on the channel. And with that said, make sure to subscribe for more deck reviews, more unboxings. Let me know what else you want to see, and I'll see you for the next one.